The Varginha alien incident nearly 30 years ago is capturing fresh attention with groundbreaking revelations from 2025. If you are cozied up by a warm fireplace savoring a peaceful evening, then picture the rural expanses of Brazil where the scent of damp earth lingers in the breeze following a gentle rain. It is precisely in that setting that I shall recount for you a true tale from nearly 3 decades past. This narrative is no fabrication from cinema or flights of fancy, but rather the raw encounters of ordinary individuals much like ourselves who stumbled upon something that transcends the boundaries of human comprehension regarding the cosmos. The saga traces its origins to the Roswell incident in the year 1947, when the notion of unidentified flying objects, or what we now term extraterrestrial craft, first erupted into public consciousness and proliferated across the globe. From that moment onward, up to the present day, investigators have documented thousands upon thousands of incidents worldwide involving enigmatic phenomena. These encompass anomalous signals detected by military radars, brilliant flashes piercing the midnight sky, luminous orbs hovering inexplicably, and even instances where fighter jets have downed mysterious objects. Humanity has drawn perilously close to these enigmas, close enough to discern their silhouettes with clarity, to hear the eerie hum of their propulsion systems, and in rare cases, to grasp fragments of their debris in our own hands. Yet, for the most part, these accounts revolve around inanimate constructs soaring through the heavens, with scant reference to the living intelligences purportedly piloting them, those entities we whisper about in trepidation as extraterrestrials. Whenever even a sliver of intelligence about these beings emerges, the global community of space enthusiasts ignites with fervor, akin to fuel poured upon a roaring blaze. A prime example unfolded in the early 2200 era, when 2 peculiar mummified remains were publicly displayed during hearings at the Mexican Congress, sending ripples of astonishment worldwide. Ordinarily, however, interactions with extraterrestrials manifest through cadavers retrieved from downed spacecraft or bizarre corpses unearthed in desolate locales. Life, though, invariably presents exceptions that astonish and stir the soul. At times, we do not merely observe them from afar but engage directly with creatures that breathe, pulse with life, and tremble in fear just as we do. In extraordinarily uncommon circumstances, humans have even managed to capture them alive. Envision standing mere feet from a life-form alien to our planet, your heart pounding with ferocious intensity. Crimson orbs fixate upon you unblinkingly, and in that instant, you realize they quiver with the same primal terror. Such a confrontation transpired in a modest Brazilian village. Today, I shall unfold that episode moment by moment, immersing you as if you were there amid the unfolding drama. All commenced in the chill pre-dawn hours of January 13, 1996, shrouded in the misty veil of a miner's Gerari's morning. Verdant coffee plantations stretched endlessly under a blanket of fog. The Brazilian authorities abruptly received an urgent alert from the North American Aerospace Defense Command, commonly known as NORAD. Their surveillance radars had locked onto an anomalous aerial vehicle exhibiting velocities and trajectories utterly incompatible with any known human-engineered aircraft. This entity was hurtling toward the northeastern outskirts of São Paulo. Soon thereafter, confirmation arrived. The object had plummeted into the periphery of Varginha city. Varginha, a serene municipality characterized by narrow lanes, modest dwellings, and a populace sustained primarily through agricultural pursuits, lay unprepared for the intrusion. Conjure the scene in your mind's eye. Aurelina de Freitas and her spouse, Eurico de Freitas, roused themselves at the crack of dawn as was their routine. In the kitchen, Aurelina prepared a humble breakfast, the rich aroma of Brazilian coffee wafting through the air, while birdsong greeted the day outdoors. Abruptly, the livestock in the yard erupted into pandemonium, scattering in frenzy. Cattle bellowed ferociously, fowl clucked in shrill discord. Peering through the window, Aurelina felt her pulse halt. Against the leaden sky hovered an immense form. Resembling an elongated school bus in contour yet devoid of wings or wheels, it glided languidly in utter silence, no roar of engines, merely a faint shroud of white vapor encircling it. With a voice quivering like a leaf in the wind, Aurelina summoned her husband, and together they held their breath as the craft faltered, its emissions thickening ominously. At length, it descended gradually toward the dense woodland at the base of a distant hill. They were far from solitary observers. Nearby, university professor Carlos de Souza, navigating a rutted red dirt road in his vehicle, spotted a colossal cigar-shaped apparatus suspended between 300 and 400 meters aloft. Its aft section bore grievous damage, expelling plumes of pale smoke. Convinced it was an aviation mishap, he resolved to hasten to the aid of any crew aboard. The craft dipped to within 100 meters of the terrain, straining to ascend once more, only to succumb with a thunderous crash that reverberated like divine wrath. Carlos raced to the site, a chaotic tableau of scattered remnants and an acrid ammonia stench assaulting his senses, compelling tears and necessitating a makeshift mask from his clothing. The odor evoked the rupture of hundreds of spoiled eggs in unison. He retrieved a shard, lightweight and slender as aluminum foil, yet resilient, snapping back to its pristine shape upon release, a memory alloy defying conventional metallurgy. Moments later, Brazilian military transports thundered into view. Soldiers disembarked, barking orders to expel Carlos and issuing veiled threats. He proffered a terse account to local journalists before vanishing from public scrutiny for 26 years, perhaps silenced by dread or coercion. His inner turmoil remains an enigma. Had the chronicle concluded with mere spacecraft wreckage, it might have faded into obscurity among countless ambiguous unidentified flying object reports. Destiny, however, orchestrated a far more poignant rendezvous. 7 days hence, on January 20th, 1996, 3 young women trudged homeward after an exhaustive day. Liliane Silva, aged 16, her sibling Valkyria, 14, and companion Katia Xavier, 22, bantered playfully along a diminutive thoroughfare adjacent to the Marquim Gymnasium in the late afternoon, the air crisp following a light drizzle. Liliane, leading the way, froze abruptly. At a corroded, rust-streaked wall, a figure huddled. Her scream shattered the calm, summoning her companions. The trio stood transfixed, breath suspended. The entity measured roughly 1 meter 20 to 1 meter 40 in stature, its integument a glossy brown sheen as if anointed with oil, utterly bald upon its cranium. The skull loomed disproportionately large, crowned by 3 horn-like protrusions. Its gaze comprised twin spheres of fiery scarlet, while orifices for mouth, nostrils, and ears blurred into indistinction, rendering the visage an impassive void. Elongated limbs clutched at quaking thighs. Most profoundly moving was its posture, not aggressive, but cowering in evident anguish and apprehension, mirroring their own dismay. Sobbing uncontrollably, the women fled homeward to apprise Liliane and Valkyria's mother, Luisa Silva. Dismissing it initially as youthful mischief, she escorted them back only to find the being vanished, supplanted by tridigit footprints etched into the sodden soil and a noxious blend of ammonia and sulfur that pierced the nostrils. This miasma clung tenaciously, unyielding even to repeated rinses with spirits over ensuing days. Word proliferated like wildfire through the populace. Terrified residents inundated the fire station with pleas regarding a prowling monstrosity. Firefighters, presuming a feral beast, mobilized but recoiled in horror upon arrival. Tawny, lubricated dermis, vermilion eyes, whimpers akin to an infant's. After hours scouring the thickets, they ensnared one specimen employing nets and poles. Concurrently, 23-year-old military policeman Marco Eli Chariz patrolled with colleague Eric Lopez when a form darted across their path. Marco vaulted from the vehicle, seizing the enfeebled creature barehanded. Viscous slime adhered to his sleeves. Conveyed to a medical facility, he soon endured feverish delirium and the reek of decayed ova. 1 week later, his immune defenses crumbled utterly, culminating in demise at 5 o'clock in the morning on February 11th within intensive care. Physicians attributed it to infection alone, yet his sister Marta Taboris demanded swift interment and forbade autopsy, fueling suspicions of an extraterrestrial pathogen. Colleague Eric Lopez endured but embraced perpetual reticence until filmmaker James Fox's moment of contact crew coaxed forth a tremulous recounting laced with dire admonitions. His terror appeared etched into his very marrow. Declassified dossiers and military testimonies affirm at minimum 2 entities were subdued alive. The firefighters' Dawn Quarry designated Entity 1, Marco's Twilight Prize Entity 2. Both ferried covertly to disparate hospitals. Entity 2 perished within 24 hours. 26 years on, an anonymous radiologist, voice distorted, attested to 10 guards conveying a sealed black satchel for imaging sans inspection mandate. The pervasive ammonia-sulfur bouquet compelled facility evacuation for hours, lingering in olfactory memory across 4 days. Entity 1 arrived at Humanitas Hospital alive yet frail, lustrous brown hide, sanguine oculus, claw-tipped digits. Military edict prompted emergent surgery. Sentinels beyond the threshold discerned mechanical whirs and pallid physician countenances, all fretting contagion from the fater. Post-procedure, the entity expired, though myriad adherents posit self-inflicted cessation over human agency. The most arcane and evocative facet emanates from Dr. Roger Lear's tome and moment of contact testimonies. Entity 1 communed telepathically with caregivers. A staffer initialed M in the operating theatre depicted azure vapors suffusing the chamber, scarlet eyes locking, unleashing a torrent of insights. Their race laments humanity's boundless aptitude shackled by self-imposed confines, unawakened latent faculties. He endured fortnight-long migraines, emesis, and vertigo, interwoven with terror and profound empathy. The cadavers traversed to Campina's military academy, whence whispers suggest conveyance to the United States. Air traffic controllers deposed an authorized American transport plane touchdown succeeded by helicopter cargo extraction, a facsimile of Roswell transposed to South America. Brazilian officialdom disavowed the entirety. The girls mistook a mud-caked vagrant for the apparition. Troops merely drilled. Marco succumbed to mundane sepsis. The women wept in refutation. Impossible to confound a lipless, crimson-eyed form with humanity. Harvard psychologist Dr. John Mack convened them personally, elicited sketches, and deemed their veracity absolute. Erstwhile an unidentified flying object skeptic, his hundreds of interrogations transmuted conviction, devoting his career thereto. The trio exacted a grievous toll. Katia, gravid, endured calumnies of hybrid progeny, fracturing her household and precipitating severe melancholy. Lillian abandoned academia amid peer derision. Valkyria sequestered for years. Carlos de Souza grappled with menaces-induced psychosis. Innumerable eyewitnesses rue that fateful day, their existences irrevocably altered. Into the 2200 epoch, James Fox persisted in probing, eliciting from neurosurgeons tales of vivified entity dialogues and erstwhile officers' belated candor. Notably, in 2025, Varginha inaugurated a 4-meter-tall extraterrestrial effigy sculpted by acclaimed artist Renato Criaturas, unveiled on September 12 to commemorate the crash and transfigure phobia into touristic pride. A 13-foot monolith endorsing governmental obfuscation narratives while luring global pilgrims. This installation, commissioned by local tourism authorities, symbolizes the city's embrace of its anomalous legacy, drawing thousands to annual festivals where attendees reenact sightings and debate disclosures. Furthermore, the augmented moment of contact, new revelations of alien encounters, helmed by Fox and slated for digital premiere in December 2025, unveils unprecedented Varginha insights. Among them, head neurosurgeon Dr. Italo Venturelli recounts a harrowing 4-minute ocular confrontation with a detained non-human intelligence at Hospital Regional do Sul do Minas, detailing the entity's telepathic conveyance of sorrow over humanity's untapped psychic reservoirs and warnings of ecological peril if unheeded. Additional dialogues encompass retired Chief of Police Pedro Luis Aguiar from neighboring Tres Coracos, forensic pathologists Dr. Armando Fortunato and Dr. João Baptista Macuco Giannini, who dissect the improbability of terrestrial origins for the recovered forms, and witnesses like neurosurgeon Marcos Vinicio Neves plus retired military police corporal Joaquim Ribeiro de Acosta, all captured in fresh Varginha footage by Fox's cadre. This extension, building upon the original 2022 iteration, incorporates a director's cut trailer spotlighting hitherto unseen archival clips and sworn affidavits from the treating physician who ministered to a survivor for nearly 3 decades in silence, as divulged by Fox on Ross Coulthardt's platform in November 2025. Mid-November 2025 dispatches, including podcast disquisitions, reaffirm Varginha as Brazil's Roswell, with Fox asserting possession of American-held videography depicting the ensnared entity's capture, a bombshell aired via social media in October 2025. Concurrently, a Brazilian physician proffered granular depictions of proximate vivified contact in November 2025 interviews, amplifying the chorus of substantiation. As the 30th anniversary looms on January 20, 2026, prognosticators foresee a deluge of dramatized recreations and speculative exposés, potentially eclipsing prior commemorations. Even tangential anomalies persist. Infrared surveillance in July 2025 over São Pedro, Brazil, ensnared manifold unidentified flying objects darting erratically before dissolution, hinting at ongoing aerial visitations proximate the storied locale. The Varginha episode transcends a mere unidentified flying object descent and extraterrestrial apprehension. It chronicles the shared trepidation bridging species, humanity's dormant aptitudes, and veils of secrecy shrouded for inscrutable motives. As of 2025, scholars delve ever deeper, unearthing fresh parchments. We inch toward acknowledging our solitude's illusion in the vast firmament. Tonight, gazing upon the starlit vault, you might sense their vigilant gaze, poised to greet with benevolence when we muster readiness for communion.